Welcome to Smart Conserver.
We are back again, and this time after 48 hours. I eventually removed the pipes and turned over the container I made. It was heavy. I tried to remove some of the sand from the concrete form. This was the sand that was on the section that meets the concrete when I was pouring it. I tried to remove the leaf, however, my attempt to remove all the still green leaf proved futile. As in some areas, and I'm not sure if it was because the leaf was still green, it was difficult to remove. I then tried to concentrate my effort on the base, as I had to cap it so that it could hold at least a gallon of water. I had to remove the areas quickly, as the concrete was still a bit green, as they would say, and I wanted to add the cap to it. Well, I propped up the form and mixed some concrete, placed the cardboard, newspaper, and a flower pot in the form, not before adding chicken wire so it can be sturdy. I formed the cap casting it straight up, as if that's the only way more water could be placed inside. When the cap was made, it was set to dry. I did not place it in the sun. As I told you before, I like my project to dry slowly. After drying, I continuously wet it to prevent cracks, and then another 48 hours after I placed the entire form I created on a 5-gallon bucket in a 5-gallon bucket, just to add more concrete to the bottom so it can be placed without tumbling over. After adding this concrete, another 48 hours drying time again. Notice each time I had to wait for the concrete to dry, I waited for 48 hours. With this, I'm making sure that it's well dried. I don't want to remove it or trouble the form, and it wasn't properly dried. Based on the number of times I added concrete and the number of times I had to wait 48 hours after, you can imagine how long it took so far. The work is not yet done, as I had a fear that even though I didn't see cracks, I feared that there may be thread-like crack unseen to my eyes. And the pretty look I wanted was not yet achieved, as I wanted the stone textured spray, which I haven't yet located. To ensure that I have no leakage, I placed silicone in the bottom, especially where I joined the concrete. Then again, allow it to dry, this time for only 24 hours. The next day, I tried to remove the balance of what was left of the leaf, which was now dried and brown. I tried an abrasive and water, even a pin to remove the veins of the leaf from the cement. The veins came out easily with the use of the pin, but the dried leaf, boy, it was hard to remove. Remembering now that I have a battery-operated rotating brush, I decided to try it with water in the concrete form. It came out easily. What I noticed though was that where parts of the leaf was affixed to the concrete form, when removed, the area was darker in color, looking like a concrete mixture which wasn't dried. I guess the color was as a result of it being covered by the leaves. And I never doubted if it was dried, as the amount of 48 hours this thing undergo, it would be impossible for it not to be dried. So, after removing all leaf particles, I left it to dry for a little while, not for very long. After drying, I added a clear coat of concrete sealer. I really used the concrete sealer as I wanted to repel moisture, prevent cracks, resist stains, and ensure my concrete structure lasts longer. I've used a sealer before, and I notice it gives a sheen, and that I like as well. All I have to do is paint it on. Next step was to spray on the stone textured spray. I taped paper over the inside of the leaf design as I did not want the design to be painted up. So I sprayed the front and the back, making sure that it had a thick layer that would give that stone look I desired. But it never easy, as even some of my little plants are sprayed up. Well, the spraying was done, and once again I had to dry it. Drying time was short. It took less than an hour, and within that hour I was changing the pump on to a solar one, attaching the controller, the solar panel to the battery, and testing the fountain. I wanted to ensure that the water landed within the container and not outside of it. I was satisfied. So everything was dry, and I placed the fountain on a tree stump under the mango tree. I placed two ferns I have around it and beside it to hide the cable from the pump as much as I could. I will allow you to hear it. You hear it? Listen again. I have been planting up the area around and behind it as well, with the intent of getting it to look like a blooming tropical oasis, and it's getting there fast. Overall, I would rate the difficulty level of this project as 5 out of 10, as it required great planning and thinking at times. I had to make spontaneous decisions just to ensure the best outcome. And see, it worked.
You have come to the end of another series. Join us next time for more ways to conserve.